There hasn't been a time where I don't think I've been like completely obsessed with movies, and film hasn't just been running through my mind 24/7. And I would start to Google and read a lot of film criticism and more serious stuff online. I mean, from like the earliest days, it was all I could talk about. Knowledge, the first movie I saw in the theaters was Pocahontas. I have no recollection of it. I don't even think I was 3 at the time. Something must have been right, and there's a time capsule from the year 2000 when I was 8 years old, and I still remember this because I still hound my friend to open it. But it was like a 2nd grade class party, and she asked us to put in things that we thought were like meaningful to us, and of course all I put in were movie ads. So that'll get opened up and people will see like ads of Castaway if they haven't like disintegrated already. I remember one distinctly that I watched that totally changed everything for me, and that's Woody Allen's Annie Hall. It still remains probably my favorite movie to date, and that to me, it just blew open this whole other world of what film could be. It was something that was so meaningful, something beyond just entertaining, something that didn't just say everything it had to say at once, and it really stuck with me and really made me think, and I'm still thinking about it to this day. I think one of the other big steps for me in terms of my cinema obsession was when I started the blog, writing movie reviews. It was before my junior year in high school. It happened while I was at the movie Julie and Julia. It was an early screening, and I say early screening because what happened beforehand was probably what inspired the love of, or me to go home and start the blog in the first place. There was like an impressions contest, and I got super jacked up, and it was who could do the best Julia Child impersonation. Well, I'd just seen one clip of her on Food Network before I'd gone to the movie, so I got up there and I knew her one line of "Bon appetit." Amy Adams' character, she plays Julie Powell, who's a sort of like down and out New Yorker in 2001, just sort of looking for something to give her some purpose outside of her dead-end job. And she has this really profound line. She says, "I have thoughts. I can write a blog." And that for me was, I was like, I have thoughts about movies. Why don't I write a blog? So that was my first movie review. I went home and I wrote a review of Julie and Julia. And almost 5 years later, I'm still writing. It just kind of started as me writing. And then a lot of my friends read it a lot because I was always kind of the movie guy that, I'd get this call on like Friday or Saturday. It's like, "Hey, Marshall, like, what movie should I watch tonight?" He's like, "Okay, like, let me run through the list." And then at a certain point it became, "Oh, I'll just go check the blog." And then on Monday morning at school I would hear, "Hey, like, I went to the blog for a movie review and I decided to go see The Hurt Locker and it was great. I loved it." And I'm like, "Yes, that's awesome. Like, thank you for going to see that instead of like Transformers." At a certain point it just became like a great repository for people. If they wanted to go get my thoughts on a movie, they could go get it there. And occasionally I'll still hear people, they'll be like, "Oh, well, I didn't like your thoughts on Love and Other Drugs. It was a terrible movie." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I was a little too nice on it." And it's also cool now, especially for movie reviews that I wrote 4 or 5 years ago, to go and look back. I get to Wake, and within a few weeks I get this email from the Career Services office, and they have someone coming to give a presentation about a program for students at the Cannes Film Festival. Well, I see the words Cannes Film Festival, I'm like, I am going to hear that. It's a student program where you can go over there for 2 weeks. You essentially work for the American Pavilion, which is a big hospitality tent, doing anything from maybe you're a waiter to you check people in, but they need people to man the tent. And in exchange for that, you get essentially full access to the film festival, which is closed off to the public otherwise. Full accreditation, can go see movies, and get to experience life on the French Riviera, which to me sounded like a dream come true. I applied, and then right before finals, I got accepted, and I was like on cloud 9. And I went there, and I mean, I was waiting tables. It wasn't anything glamorous, but I mean, just being that close to the industry and being able to observe it just really just awoke this passion in me. So I mean, the summer after junior year, before senior year, is sort of like the big summer, and you've been prepared for like forever. It's like, that's the summer where you have to get the big internship, and then they give you a job after you graduate. So I feel the pressure. I'm like, well, am I going to do something that's more like generalized PR and marketing, or am I going to continue to go on the film path? So I kind of looked for ways to marry them. And thankfully, I was able to find a posting for a position at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. I was like, wow, this is a perfect fit for me. I had an interview with them over the phone in LA, and I will say it's probably like one of my favorite interviews I've had. And a few weeks later, in the middle of this like incredibly stressful day, at like 7:30, I get this call, and it's from LA. And I pick it up, and it's the HR person telling me I'd been identified as the final candidate, which at first I'm like, final candidate, does that mean I got it? And eventually, so, you know, we'll send over the paperwork and everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got it. I mean, I'm excited to meet a lot of people. It's just this huge melting pot of people from all sorts of different facets of the industry, all united by this love of Hollywood, a love of movies, and just getting to see them all working towards, you know, let's make like the best movies, and let's ignite this passion for cinema with people, and just looking forward to meeting people like that, and, you know, getting to make my own mark, I guess.